Alright, so we're going to be designing this part here. It doesn't have actual name, but it's part of that assembly. So if you want to call it the base part, I guess. I don't know. Depends what you want to call it. You can call it whatever you like. But anyways, what we're going to do is start in a new drawing part. And we're going to start drawing it from the front face. So I'm going to create this part here. We're going to extrude it all the way down. And that's going to be actually 23. I'm not sure why he's showing that. The slot is supposed to be the inside, not the outside. So this is like an error that shouldn't be shown. It should be here instead. But I think we can work this out. Looking at the part, I want to just verify that. So see, there is no, this line here is 1.5. That's just a slot in the back. The drawing's kind of tricky, so if you don't see it through the drawing, it's easier to see it through here. Looking at the drawing also, we can see that there are no dashed lines, but these should be completely vertical lines here, one here and one here for this back piece right here. So that is our mistake. These cross dashed lines should not be all the way through. They should be cut off at the point where that gets cut off. So again, there's a few errors in this drawing. Agreed? Yeah. So, well, you gotta keep that into consideration, but we have the gist of the design, so we can figure this out. All right. So we go with the part. We start our sketch at the front plane, and we're gonna do so by creating a line, a center line, really. Hover over so that it's on the y-axis. It's going to cross over like so. I could change that line into a construction line or a center or dash line by clicking that button, or you can start off with the center line. And I'm going to create a dimension of, well, there's two options we can do here. Since it's at a midpoint, so it's connected to the exact middle of this line, all I really need to do is do the full line dimension. So smart dimension, select the whole line, and we're doing, what is it, 88. So we're doing millimeters, which I have to change. So I have to type in mm for now, since I had inches set up. And I go to my options here, document properties, units, mmgs. So if you guys don't have that set up, do that right off the bat. That way these numbers will work. So again, I went to options, document properties, units, mmgs. There we go. And I click OK. So I get that 88. And it's at center. It should be at center. If not, oh, it's not midpoint. So after right click on the line, select the midpoint. Then I select the origin, point of origin, and make it coincident. Now it's completely defined. You can see there's no blue dots at the corners. There is no negative here. And that's what you want to do before you even get started with the circles. I'm doing the 88 because that's a reference for showing where these two circles are being placed. And I want to do my X and Y coordinate system at the center of this. If you don't like that, that's fine. You can do your X, Y coordinates at one of the circles. I like to make it unique. So we're going to do a circle for the bottom. We're still in the same sketch. And this one is diameter of 20. Or we can actually, I'm looking at this drawing, we could do the circles now, we could do it later. But this sometimes happens, you design stuff, and you realize like, oh man, I should have just done that after I drew the actual full-size design. That's alright. So we're doing another circle here. The top one is 16. Since these are cut throughs through all, we could have done that later on. Again, it's alright. These things happen. So we check that out. That's going to be our cuts. So we actually have to go back a little bit, side step back. But to do this, you're going to do this a lot when you're designing things for clients. What we're going to do is actually create a sketch. Again, same front plane. We're going to use the convert entities because we want to keep that hidden dashed line that you see there, because that's good. It's a good. Or actually, we can add it back. No, we're gonna. Geez, sorry about this, guys. We're gonna actually convert the entities for the circles. So we're gonna keep the first one. We're gonna use that as our center line, and this one as our circles. So we go to convert entities. We select these two circles. Click OK. Now you see the relationship. It's a convert entities relationship. So what we want to do with that is actually delete it. We don't need that because we're going to go back to our original, which is our first sketch, and we're going to remove the circles. Again, this happens all the time. So you select one of those. You can right click and delete, or you can select the delete key on your keyboard, and that's going to create two blue circles. This one's supposed to be blue. There you go. And we're just going to dimension this out. It's already preset. Everything works perfect, so just add those dimensions. As long as you don't move anything, you don't have to change any sizing. And the only thing I think you have to do is create the vertical relationship. Now, if you don't want to do all that work, you can do it the easy way, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. So let's say I have those two circles. I can just go to display, delete relations, and just fully define sketch. And just click the check mark. Wait, why isn't it going? Fully define, calculate. Wrong button. That's not good. Maybe I need a one dimension to put that in first. Is this the school student version? Alright, if that's not working, just go with the regular. I'm not sure why it's not working. I have to get back to that. Dimension it out again. I'm dimensioning all circles. And the one last thing that you need to make it fully defined is center, origin, and center. And then you click vertical. We keep that sketch. We go back to our original sketch. We edit that. We remove these circles. We no longer need those. And all their references. We keep the central line as it is because we need it to design the arcs, top and bottom arc. Now, the bottom arc over here, which you can see on the drawing, it tells us that the center of it is the top of this circle, which is the 88 is top, 123, and the other one is 115 from here. So we're going to do that. We're going to go back to our drawing, create two big circles. So one's going to be starting from this, and one from here. This one is the 123, not the diameter, it has to be a radius, so just do divided by 2. And this one is going to be 115. Oh, it is radius. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's why I said that. Diameter, so I got again divided by 2. And that creates the two arcs. The only thing next that we need to add is the rectangle so we can trim out the parts that we don't need. To do that, I go into a center rectangle. I'm going to start from the origin. Yes? Oh, they multiplied the wrong way? My bad. Actually, so we actually need to multiply that by 2. No, by more than that. Sorry, this should be completely different. This is 115 times 2. And this one also needs to be changed. It should be 123 times 2, since radius. A diameter would be twice that size. So, let's see. If I had the radius, no, that's the degrees. I need the. Oh, you have to put the symbols. I'm not gonna add those. Alright, so 230, 246 if you guys want the diameter. And we're going to go with the rectangle here. I created from the center of the origin. And I know the total width is 1, so I can put a, actually it's 100, sorry, 100. And this way it is, it's not specified. So we go as big as we want. I'm going to do 150. That's all I really need, I think. As long as it crosses, no more. As long as it crosses over both of these circles. So let's do 200. And again, this is a reference rectangle, so we're gonna change these lines not to be solid lines, but construction lines. So you can select them all, go to the options over here, or construction. And then we can use the trim tool where we trim off what we don't need. Hopefully that doesn't remove. A dimension was on that one, so I have to redimension that. And that creates that shape. And you can just close it up to finish the whole entire object. Like so. Or you can just draw 2 lines. You didn't have to do a rectangle. That was an option. So the other option would be, if you didn't do the rectangle, let's see here. I gotta do this dimension. I would have drawn a line. Wouldn't matter what length, as long as it's vertical, and the distance was 50 away. And then you just trim off what you don't need, and you would create that also that part. Same with this side, or you could just mirror it over. That's not my mirror line. I mirror about the center and the outside. And also fully defines the object. So there's 2 different ways. Do you guys want me to? Now, good question. If somebody wants to change the symbols from radius to diameter or diameter to radius, you can do that. All you have to do is select the dimension, go to liters, or is it other? Liters, yeah. And you got this option here, radius or diameter. So it's up to you if you want to change it to radius or to diameter. I'm going to change it to radius since that's what the drawing shows for you guys to have it better understanding. Alright, so once you have this complete, what you want to do is you want to extrude this out. The overall extrusion length will be 23 plus the 1.5. The way they actually dimensioned this is kind of weird. It's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to see the full size. If they're showing the slot, that slot back because this is a section cut at A as shown here. So that's why we see that 1.5. So we go to features, we go to extrude. We will extrude this, actually we'll extrude it back. So make sure your arrow faces back, just like me, otherwise things get a little hectic sometimes. And we're going to type in for a distance of 24.5. And that creates this shape. Next part will be to cut out these circles through the shape. Now, there's 2 things about the circles. I started a sketch already. I have it as my first sketch. I can move it to the forward to be in front of that sketch because that's what I want to do if I want to extrude cut. If you guys don't have that, all you have to do is start a sketch on this plane. Actually, we can do that. So let's say I didn't have that. I go to start a sketch on this surface. And what I'm going to do is go normal to. I'm going to create these circles. Something's going on. Oh, here's the center for that. So if you hover over your arc, you might be lucky to get the center of it. And same thing with the bottom. Sometimes it just doesn't want to. Oh, there it goes. It shows up. But if you don't have that, that's alright. What you can do is go back to your original sketch and show it. So you can go to original sketch, show it, and it's going to show that dashed line. as a reference. So now you can use the points at that line to create that circle because they are exactly 88 apart. So we go to a circle at that point and also at that point. Dimension it out. One is diameter. See, the drawings are weird because they show diameters and radius. You should stick with one. Either you're going to do the radius or you're going to do the diameter. Otherwise, people do make mistakes not knowing. So this one's 16 and this one is 20. And there, before I check out the sketch, I'm just going to go move past that, go to my next feature, which will be the extrude cut. And I'm going to go cut through all and just cut it like that, leaving my piece as is. This next part will be tricky because we're going to add a plane. We're going to add a plane that is actually in space. It's going to be from the top view. So overall, from the origin to the top, or however you want to measure this out, it's going to be up there. So to do that, we have to, now we have to do a little math. That's going to be a little situation here. You know what, let me see if you... So looking at the PDF, we'll see that there is the center of the circle, which is this circle here, is 123. So from that center all the way to the top will be 240 minus 123. I don't like doing math in my head. Sometimes I make mistakes. I'd rather the computer, the program, do it for me. So I'm going to take that plane. So I went to Features, Reference Geometry, Plane. My first reference will be the top plane, which is that center. That's going to be a little bit more math than I thought. And what we need to do is, because we have to get to the center of this circle here, which is 44 up, so we have to take that into consideration. So we're going to go 44 up first, so, and we add 240, and we subtract the 123. So how do I get that? I am here somewhere at the center, and there's 88, so 44 would get me to this position. And subtracting 240 from 123 will give me the overall distance from here to the top. It's a little trick, but I'll show you guys the exact dimension if you guys don't feel like doing the math. The actual dimension is 161. So if you guys feel like writing that down, go ahead and do that. But that's going to be the plane we're going to be working on now. If you like, some people take this to the advanced level by changing names and calling it based on whatever you prefer. But sometimes you don't have to really go into all that detail when it's not as complex. Alright, so now we have this plane up here, and we're going to create a sketch on this plane. So we're going to start our sketch, select that plane. If you can't see it, you can go down this tree and select the plane here. Then we go to normal 2, and that gives you a top view of our part as is for now. What we're going to need to do is actually start drawing out the piece. So basically, as you see it on the PDF, we create this piece. That circle will be at the origin. You can do one section first and just mirror it over, or you can do both. It's up to you. I would recommend doing the mirror, and it will simplify your life. So the way I would do it, in this case, I would start with the circle. Now we don't know exactly what position to place it in yet, so I'm just going to leave it up here for now. Oh, actually, this one actually shows where the circle is. Looking at the PDF, there's a 36 dimension to the center. So from the front of the face. So we're going to create that circle. I'm going to select that center, and I'm going to select the origin, holding Control, making sure it's vertical. We're going to add a dimension of the distance, which we just spoke about, which is 36, and the diameter. At which point, the diameter for the outside circle, or we can do the inside, diameter of the inside is 16, so I'm going to start, actually, we're going to do it the outside first, because the center circle is actually an extrude cut. We're adding material now, we're not subtracting anything yet. So instead of doing a 16, we're going to 15 radius, which is 30. Or you can do 15 times 2. And that creates this arc out here. So radius 15. See? Trick. Be careful. R, radius, diameter symbol 16. So I gotta change that to diameter. Okay, we have that location. What we want to do next is we can start drawing the rest of the part somewhat until we design the whole part. And then we just mirror it over. And I'll show you how you reference this whole part, this line here, to the, actually this arc. I'll show you how to do that next, after we do this part. So, from here, we create a line that hits the quadrant of the circle. And this, I'm not sure how long it goes, so I'm just going to extend it out, making sure I don't make any relationships that may cause problems later on. Doing that angle, and I'm going down. And actually, what I gotta turn this plane off. It's kind of making me a little dizzy. So I didn't actually create the bottom line because I'm gonna use the edge here, and I'm gonna convert it to convert the end. And it also looks like this line should be collinear with this line. So I'm going to select both these lines, make them collinear. And then these 2 points, I'm merging them. So slowly building my structure here. What other dimensions do we have? We have this point here, which is 70 from both sides. So at center, it's 35 from the center. Or you can do 70 divided by 2, of course. I'm using that as a reference, so 70 divided by 2. That creates that. This next step, it is 20 in depth. So from here to here is 20. What else do we have that we can use? Oh, we got the degree. This degree here is 65. And to get this location, we select that to the edge out here. And that's the over is 45. And that completed and fully defines our sketch. So we have, that part of the sketch. We still have the arc that we need to do. And looking at this drawing, I made a quick mistake. This edge that we don't need, this line here, this convert entities, I'm going to delete that. Not sure why I added that, and it looks like that line that I did have there was related to this line by the dimension, so I have to redo that dimension like so. It's already set at 45, so we're good. That's that. We got the location here. This is collinear, so we're good. Other than we got to trim this out later on. Next step will be to create this arc here. Now we have the radius for that arc, which is 100, but we don't know where to place it. So I'm going to create a big circle right here, making sure I'm on the origin, vertical to the origin. And I'm going to dimension it out. The radius is 100, so that equals 200 in diameter. And I'm not sure what the distance is from here to the origin or anything such as. But if you look at your drawing and your section view, you will see a dimension here, 51 and 41. So 51 is our overall, which is actually from this. See, it's 45 is this piece here. 51 would be from here to here. And 41 would be from this circle to the big arc. So keeping that in mind, I could do that dimension. It's going to be a little tricky. So I'm going to create a dimension from circle to circle, but I'm going to select that dimension. I'm going to drag. Actually, I need to drag out this first. So I'm dragging this all the way down to the quadrant of the big circle. So from the center of the big circle to the quadrant of the circle. And didn't do it. Lucky me. Alright. If it's not going to work that way, there's always different ways to do this. At such point, I'm going to draw a center line. That always solves that issue. Or construction line. So I'm going to go back to center line or construction line, and I'm going to draw a vertical line from the center of the big circle to its quadrant. At which point I can select. It's still not giving me. So, you know what? I'm going to make that shorter. I'm going to use the center line, select a quadrant from the small circle to the big circle, like that. That's the key. And I'm going to dimension that out. That's the part that I do know the dimension distance, which we just showed at 41, giving me the arc. So again, I'm going to do that quick repeat. An important center line that we need to create is from the quadrant, the end of this, to the end of this big circle. I'm doing that because I know the distance is 41 from the end of that to the quadrant of the big arc or circle. So that's where I'm doing that center line. From here to here. And all I have to do is just dimension it out, which I know is 41. There's a lot of lines. Again, I'm getting a little dirty, if you want to call it that. So I'm going to mirror actually this side here, and I'm going to start trimming out the parts that I don't need. To mirror, I go to my mirror entities. I select these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. My mirror about will be my center line that we just created. At which point I have both of these complete, and I just do the trimming. So trim that, trim the arc, trim this circle on both sides, and this line here. Now if you can see that it's not completely defined because this line is still blue, but I know both of these are going to be equal, so I can just do that. Equal, and now it's fully defined. From here, once you have this fully defined sketch, make sure it's fully defined before you do anything. That way you don't forget that you're supposed to fully define it. And we're going to do an extrude of the height, which is 25. If you look on the side here, 25. We're only going that distance because this material doesn't go all the way through. I don't want to subtract stuff and keep on adding things. So I'm just going to extrude out 25, and that's it for that point. So 25, making sure it goes downwards, not up. So switch the arrow key, or arrow showing going downwards, and we accept it. So you end up with something like this. I know it doesn't look right because you're supposed to have only one piece, but we're going to add in that material now. So to do that, to do the add-in, we have to actually sketch on the surface whatever needs to be extruded out. It needs to keep going. At this point, we're also going to do that little cut here, as shown on our drawings. So if you look at the drawing on top, there's a little cut, a notch. We're going to design that notch at the same time. So we're going to go start a sketch on this surface, the bottom surface. We can go to normal 2. And that's kind of tricky because you can't see what we're working with. So that's a trick. The one thing you can do is select the object here, this part, or you can select it here. And you go to, what is my isolate? What is this thing? Actually, you can just do it here. Select it on the tree and just go hide. So that doesn't interfere with our sketching now. So you select it again, go hide, and if you want to show it back, you just click show. We go back to normal 2, and this is where we go with the convert entities. So we go with the convert entities command. We select the entire surface because we don't want to select each line. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of lines. And we accept. Now we have too many lines. There's 3 lines that we need to remove, which is this part here, and this right here. So you can hold Control and select all three and delete it using your delete key on your keyboard. And from here we can create these. Did I delete that? Should be deleted. Yeah, there's nothing there. And we're going to create that last part, which is a vertical line, cross, and vertical again. Oh, wrong way. It's supposed to be the other way, so I'm just going to drag it. Easy. Just drag. You know, you put it the wrong way, you're like, that happens. Just drag it up. Now, all we need to do is we need the distance, which we have on our side view here, which is 1.5 is this notch here. So we do smart dimensioning 1.5. And that creates our notch. It's fully defined. As you can see, it's all black. There's no negative here. It is perfect. We accept it. I'm seeing the sketch because in the beginning we turned the sketch on. I'm just going to hide that sketch. And from there, we can do the extrude. But before that, we do an extrude, we need to show our original part, the bottom part. So I'm going to go back to this feature and we're going to click show. Now we can do our extrude of that sketch. We go to features, extrude. You can select the sketch from here, or you can try selecting it from there, but I prefer you do it this way. And we're going to do it not blind, but up to surface, I believe. Like so. You can see it grabs that perfect shape. It doesn't overextend. It's exactly what we're looking for. So up to surface, and we select the bottom surface of our first part. And then creates single part. The only thing that is really left, I'm not sure. That notch is tricky here. That should not be like that. We might have to cut this notch out again. But again, we gotta have this circle up here too, so you can add that in. And remember, we do have cutouts on the side, these slots here, and they're only on the left side here, not on the right side. So keep that in mind. Only on the left side. So if you do these circles, I would recommend sketching it on the right plane and extruding cut one way only, blind through all. So one of my students realized that added material here. That's no problem. We just have to move our cut. This cut, these two circles that we did, it's our second step. We just move it to the end. So all you do, our second step was the cut, and I'm just going to move it all the way to the bottom. So I'm holding on it, dragging it down, placing it at the bottom, clearing up that issue here. Now, all the problem is, for some reason, when it hit this surface here, it stopped cutting our slot. So what we need to do is we will start a sketch on this plane, this little thin plane. Might be a little tricky to catch too. And then we go convert entities. We select that surface. Oh, it is actually a curved object, so we can't do it that way. Darn. Let's see here. Alright, well, there's two options for the slot. We could have just not done the slot in the beginning when we did that sketch, the original extrusion. I was hoping we could just, do two birds with one stone, but we can't, so we're going to have to go back to creating a sketch. We can do it on the top plane. So we go to sketch, we go to top plane, we go to normal 2. Actually, I want it from the bottom. I'm going to go from the bottom. And I'm going to create that rectangle that we need to cut, which is right here. See, it didn't cut right through all the way. That's wrong, so we need to resolve that. You can do a rectangle, or you can go actually normal 2. Again, I forgot we're working from the back. we just create a square. You can even follow those lines, or a rectangle. So I'm using this line here as a collinear. I have two vertical lines, but I don't have the distance of this vertical lines, which is 1.5. And then we can do either extrude to surface, or select the surface, probably the easiest way of doing this. Features, extrude cut, wrong direction, you want it that way, to the surface. Ooh, surface, where are you? Up to surface, we select that surface here, and that cuts that out. No more notch right in the middle. Well, actually, what's going on here? Ah, I see. We did from the top plane, so that the top plane is our actually center part. So that created a problem. It's alright, we can go back to that extrude cut. We go to the other direction, and we also put it up to surface. And it's to the bottom surface. I want to do it up to the surface because no matter how I decide how to extend this part, that slot will also extend out all the way through. Up to, of course, this part here, to the bottom. And of course, we go over our sketch, top plane here, we draw a circle at the center. We have the size is 16. And we go to features, extrude cut. This time we go through all. Shouldn't cut anything except that. Creates that slot. And our final cutting will be a sketch on our right plane. We go normal 2, and we start creating these circles here. Now you can use well, you just create one for now. We dimension it out based on the PDF. So this is 25. Nope, I'm looking at it wrong. 63. From the back, it's 15. Nope, 15 from this back here. So keep that in mind. It's 15 this way, from all the way from the end here, not from the back here. And then we dimension out the whole size, which is 6 diameter. Now what I prefer doing is, I don't like using linear sketch patterns in Sketch because it's hard to edit. So instead, I do the actual feature now. I do the extrude cut through all that one way. Oh, it looks like I did it the wrong side, so I have to edit that, reverse my direction. That is the right side. And I'm going to use the linear pattern here in my features toolbox. Linear pattern, use this edge as a direction. The features to pattern is the cut, last cut. The distance, these should be spaced apart correctly. We can assume that, but it doesn't specify that. It should specify that, but it's 0.5, it's 50. And how many cuts do we have? 4 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. That completes that part, except for the fillets. You got to add in the fillets, which you can do, or you don't have to. But here's a trick thing. When you're looking at the sketch, you see that there's this little notch. You're wondering what size is that? Well, when you're designing it correctly, it creates it without you actually making that happen. And there's even actually a little one that you barely see, but it should be there on the drawing. So we can also add in the fillet just to complete this project completely. The radius is 5, so 10 diameter, like that. And where else do I need it? I think that is the only place. So that completes the part. Any questions, feel free to ask.